Now, Pakistani-Canadian Rana appeared before a U.S. court in Chicago on Monday, where federal prosecutors discussed the use of classified information as evidence in his trial. Now, the terror suspect Rana is charged with involvement in the Mumbai attacks, and his lawyer told NDTV that he will not be changing his not guilty plea to guilty, unlike his co-accused, David Headley.
It was his first appearance in court since co-accused LET operative David Headley pleaded guilty on the 18th of March to plotting the Mumbai attacks. But Pakistani-Canadian Rana stuck to his stand that he's not guilty, and in court today, federal prosecutors went ahead with the next step in his case, discussing how classified information could be used in his trial. Prosecutors say the case against Rana includes classified information the government would like to use against him, but not like to release in a public courtroom. This means that when Rana's case goes to trial, many of the hearings may be closed to the public. The 49-year-old Chicago resident has pleaded not guilty since his October 2009 arrest and claimed that Headley duped him. However, according to Headley's plea agreement, Headley had informed Rana of the details of his trips to Pakistan and his association with the LET. The plea agreement also states that Rana allowed Headley to use his immigration office as a cover for his travels in India. So now that Headley has pleaded guilty, how does this affect your client's case?
Well, we knew, and I think everybody in the press already knew as well, that he was planning on pleading guilty. He allowed the Department of Justice to indicate that he was cooperating, so it's not surprising at all as to how it's going to affect it. I have to see the evidence first.
So you still have a strong case?
Yes.
For your client. So your client is not planning to change his plea
like
Headley did?
No, we are heading for a trial.
The last date for the court to take a final decision on the use, relevance and admissibility of classified evidence in this case is the 13th of September, which means that even at the earliest, Rana's trial is still over half a year away. With the prosecution saying that a fair part of the evidence in this case is classified, there is a good chance that a part of this trial could be closed to the public. In Chicago, Sarah Jacob, NDTV.
Well, NDTV Sarah Jacob attended today's court proceedings, and of course at this point in time not too much information coming in, but let's go across and get the latest from her. Now Sarah, there is of course a lot of emphasis now being placed on the classified information in this case. Why is it so important, and what does this really mean for India?
Well, what India would be keen to know is when Rana's case goes to trial, and they would want to closely follow the proceedings of that trial. But the problem is when classified information is used as evidence in a case, then some parts of that trial could be closed to the public and to the press. So the Classified Information Procedures Act, which is known as CIPA here, allows the government or gives the government the protection to withhold certain information from the press if it would affect their national security. But just to clarify, CIPA does prevent the disclosure of certain information, but it doesn't protect the use of that information in a trial. It's really up to the judge. The judge gets to decide whether or not certain evidence will affect the country's national security, and if and when it can be used in a trial, and when it's used in a trial, on those days will the trial be closed off to the public and to the press. So now the U.S. District Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald, who's overseeing the prosecution in this case, he has said that a fair part of the evidence in this case is classified, but he's trying to declassify a lot of it so that this case, Rana's trial, will not have to go through these extraordinary secrecy measures that we see in many other cases where classified information is used. So the question now is, it's still a couple of months away. Will Rana's case go to trial? When will it go to trial? Will it be open to the press? And will that be a setback, yet another setback to the Indian government, who's already having problems getting access to question David Headley?
Tuba.com